Hey everyone, I will just wait a few more minutes until a few more people are here and then we will get going. Today, well, can give you some information already. I will be showing you how to do photoreal rendering of leaves, like a foliage for trees and shadow casters and stuff like that. It will be fairly brief because it's not too crazy. And then I will talk about a bit more about light shaders in general, which is the community I'm creating. It's on Slack and it's on my Bitbucket, and I'll talk a bit more about that as well. Can you hear me actually? I hope so. Loud and clear. Thank you, Ryan. We can hear you. That's good. Okay. Just waiting for the comments to pop up. Cool. So how many are we? 9 people so far. We just wait a bit more. I think I'll get going when it's half past. It's 9:30 p.m. where I am now. So where you guys from? Yeah, I have a few good resources. You can actually, I can show you on Slack. I'm not sure if you joined there, but if you go on the Slide Shaders Slack group, let me just copy the link quickly so you can guys join it if you want to. Just copying it from it's on my webpage as well. Copy link address and paste it here. So if you guys click there, you can actually join the Slack community where we have 160 members so far, and it's about pasting, asking questions and getting answers. It's fairly slow still, but it will get there eventually. It's just a quick way to get fast feedback. And on there, on OSL, I actually posted a few links where you can get pretty good resources. Because it's an open language, all the other platforms have it as well, like Blender, for instance, which is nice. So you can get all the information on OSL also from different platforms. So it's not limited to just Arnold, which is pretty cool. Thailand, Italy, New York, California. Lots of people, man. Nice. Okay. What else? So that's a Slack group actually. Um, and then what else do we have? I also have my Bitbucket repo, which is just my repository where you can actually get some code, and I will. It's actually more like a toolbox for look dev lighting artists with several smaller tools, bigger tools, and when I go over the tutorial just now, you will see how it can be beneficial to use those things. Yeah, so that is, I just call it light shader because it's lighting and shaders look dev, so I just came up with that name. So that's that's it. What else? Then you can actually get the source code. It's all open source, so it's nicely packaged. If you go to downloads, you can actually download the latest version, which is V8. I also have in there a few OSL shaders. One is similar to AL shaders, the layer color, which just gives you the opportunity to blend different colors or textures together. And then a position mask and a really basic remap, which with a few more options like masking or clamping as well. So we are going to start the session now. It's not as popular tonight, I guess, because most of my followers live in Europe, and it is a Friday, Saturday, and in Germany it's now 6:30, and I guess in mostly Europe it will be the same time, so people are still sleeping. But for the others, if you're there, yeah. So a few more guys joined just now, which is nice. Thank you guys. That was quick. So feel free to ask questions here in the Arnold community or in general. If you have specific questions, I would prefer if you go to the specific channels on Slack. But if it's more general question, feel free to help out other people here or ask questions. The idea is not that I am always helping you guys. It's more community, so people help each other and share content. So that's the main idea. Okay, so anyways, enough rambling. Let's get going. So I got this question quite a few times. Please show me how to do leaves, foliage, plants, good looking stuff. So I will be using Quixel Megascans again, just because they have pretty cool stuff. Where's the library actually? Is it just not? There we go, library. So they've got a big, big, big catalog of things. Like atlases are like textures, which will we be using actually now as well. So I'm not sure which one exactly I downloaded, but I downloaded one of those, and I will be showing you how to set it up using that. And obviously you can get proper surfaces as well, which is high res scans, and you get all the stuff, displacement, and it's really awesome. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. I use it in production at work. We use it, and it's pretty good stuff, honestly. So to go back to Maya, and let me just give you a quick introduction what is in the scene. So I have a basic IBL, image-based lighting, and I have enabled viewport lighting, viewport materials or textures, and the multi-sampling, which just gives us a smoother representation. And I have leaves in here, but this is just what I tested before going live, so I did not talk any shit. So let's go. So the first thing what you obviously do is download the textures. I got them here. So this is open with, I hate this new Windows photo viewer, but this is what they look like. So we will be using those 16 ones, and this is the texture we get, right? So I will be showing you how to make use of that. It will be a bit tedious now because it is live session. It's not a tutorial, so I cannot skip ahead in time. But for now, let's just create one leaf. And roughly, I guess, I don't know, 5 by 10 centimeters in scale. So 5 and then 10 here. I know it might be a bit big, but anyways, this is just showing you the idea of it. So what is going on here? Sorry, I've actually finally got 2 monitors, so I'm just quickly browsing the other one. Anyways, okay. So, and I need to open the Hypershade now so you can see what is going on. And the UV editor is right here. You guys still follow along? I haven't heard any questions so far. All good? Okay, I guess so. Anyways, okay, all good. So what I'm doing now, I'm just it's hard to maintain all the stuff on just one monitor again. So sorry about that. So now, okay. So what I do, like, I got lazy. I did not like to always create an AI image node and browse and choose a texture. So what you can do, or what I am doing now, is I'm just selecting all the maps which I just downloaded and dragging them right into the view, into the Hypershade. And the cool thing about that, it actually names your stuff correctly. If you don't like that, or let me just show you quickly what another way would be. So AI image AI image. So if you have your texture here, you browse for it. I think it's in, is it on the desktop? Yeah, so it's here. No, it's not there. It's here. So let's just use the albedo for now. So it takes a while to load. There we go. That's my texture. And this would now be my AI image node, which I would do manually and duplicate and rename. So the cool thing now is with light shaders, which is here in the menu, which you can download from the repo, I have this option where you can actually automatically rename your stuff. You can do it on all the inputs or just on the selected. So I will just do the selected now. And you can see it takes actually the name of the texture and puts it right here. And if you have lots of them, it's super simple to rename all your stuff. But I was lazy. I just dropped them in here now. So I need to make these views a bit smaller. So we can actually undo this. Maybe I just dock it as well. Not sure if this was the best idea. Okay, no, it does work. Okay, so now what I want to do is create an AI standard surface shader, select the leaves, and assign it. So this is now that, and I just want to connect for now the albedo, which is my diffuse color. Out color goes into the base color, like so. I just clicked save. And now you can see this is now, you can see I'm actually starting from scratch. So this is now how my one leaf, my single leaf looks like. And obviously that is not correct. So what I want to do now, if I select the leaf in the viewport, I get actually the representation of it in the UV editor on the far right. And you can see now for each leaf, I need to adjust the UVs. And obviously this is now a tedious process, so I will be going fast to do this. So I will just do one leaf quick. So you scale the UVs and you move it where you want leaf 1 to be. Let's say somewhere here. Try to fit it up like this. Yeah, so this is leaf 1, right? So what I do now is I just duplicate this guy. I think it's 4 times, and then I select the other ones. I disable viewport selection highlighting because sometimes it's just annoying, sometimes it's helpful, sometimes not. Okay, so these are my leaves. So what I do now, I just select them. I try to select them all. Like so, all are selected. And now I press F12. UV selection is on. So now, does it make actual sense? Oh no, maybe it did not. But anyways, okay, let's do one by one. So first leaf is selected. Let's go to the next one, UV mode. Select that, move them over. Okay, just scale it up a bit. So then we go to the next one. And obviously, I'm pretty sure there are different or better ways of doing this. I am not a real texture artist, so I'm just doing it as I feel free to do it. And I think I did the first mistake already. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one needs to be number 3. And then we good to go. Feel free to ask questions down below in the comments. I can actually see them on my screen as well. So, and if I'm going too fast or if you have other questions, just let me know, please. So this is now working better. I can select them in the viewport and just drag it roughly over the shape. And that's the thing. It depends how you get your textures, how you get your models, and based on that, you need to make your own assumptions or find your own workflows how to do things. So this is now what Quixel Megascans provides us with this texture atlas. and you need to UV map your models appropriately to get this working. But again, it's like sometimes you paint them out from Mari perfectly, and you don't need to do this texture atlas stuff or whatever. So yeah, it's always depends how you get your things. I'm just checking if the stream is still running because I haven't heard from you guys, but it is going. Okay. So then we take this guy. This might be a bit big, so I'm just scaling it down a tiny bit. And then we take the next one. These are more like, I think, dead, rotten leaves. So anyways, I'll just do all of them just so you guys see the whole shebang. So that is that. And then the last one, and then we're done. Yoo-hoo. Okay, let's scale this guy down. Okay, so this is now the albedo stuff connected up, which is good. So let's just save because, you know, it's Maya we're working with. Save. Okay, so the cool thing now is because I think since Maya 17.5, maybe earlier, I'm not 100% sure, you get proper viewport representation now. Not on all the channels on the shader, but most of them. So the cool thing is now you can actually quickly just connect up your maps into the shader, and you can see how they look like. And you can see actually my leaves are all a bit squashed. So I'll just selecting all of them and scaling them like this. Okay, so this is now the roughness, which is the specular roughness. Then we have translucency, which I might not be using because I will use the diffuse, but we'll see. So this is kind of the backlighting, right? When you use transparency or translucency. Then you have opacity, which is a cut out map like this, black and white. Normal is the bump, but we have also a bump, we have a normal, and we have a displacement, and the displacement can actually create a bump. So lots of stuff happening. That's the bump map now. And then we have the albedo, which we have seen already. Okay, so this is what we got. So what I want to show you quickly is how to use the light shader attribute control. So select your geo. You can select it in the viewport or right in the outline or wherever you want to select it from. And go to light shader, attribute editor. This is what this guy looks like. So several options here on selections. You can add a selection, you can remove a selection, you can refresh the selection, and you can just, this was like really just select or add to this list what you have selected in the outliner. The default behavior though is it traverses all the children of the selection. So if you select the top group, it will select all the stuff inside the group and like traverse through it. But if you select this star icon, it will only do the top selection. But we want, for now, let's just do the transform. So, but the tool is clever enough to see if there's a shape node and you do the transform, it will just ignore the shapes, right? But just so you can also just click on the star now and it only selects the transform nodes. So let me show you what this can do. You can now translate everything by 1 unit. If you increment them, you see everything moves to the right. If you go negative, everything moves to the left. You can set the value, so everyone is gets the same value. So this would look like this. And if I click it again on Z, it's all on one space now. So what is now happening? So you can actually click the random. I'm so drunk. Yeah, it's Friday night. I should be drunk too. Anyway, so random X, so you can actually select a range. So let's say we want -10 and +10, and we hit set. And then we get a random value. You see it's random, but it's 10 is obviously not enough. So let's go maybe up to 50. And you can see now this is a spread of 50 units in X in negative and positive. Let's just try 25 and be happy. Okay, and now let's do the same in Z. Also -20, +25, set. And now we have a random offset, and we can actually do also a Y offset. So let's do that as well. So let's just go from 0 up 50. So set that, and now we have a random stuff like that. We can do random rotations. Let's do Y-axis 0 and 360 or 180. Yeah, let's do that. And let's do maybe in these ones -5 +5. And again, -5 +5. And the cool thing is you can do this with lights. You can choose different exposures. You can create random exposure values for lots of lights. You can, what I do in production, I change a Kelvin value, like a slight tint between 6 and 6.5, just to get this little color shifts, which really helps a lot. And obviously you can override the visibilities and stuff like that as well. So here's a conflict. So let's just move this one manually and maybe this one up. Okay, so lots of leaves flying around. So this is now the main idea. You can do mesh stuff. So anyways, let's just get going with shading, saving, and I just start the render. And you can see what it currently looks like. And obviously not like much. 50%, so faster feedback. Okay, so this is now my current scene. You see nothing is working. There's no displacement, there's no color, there's no opacity. So we will be connecting all these things up now. I will dock it here because I think we don't need the viewport anymore unless we want to rotate the camera. Let's just focus on this one guy here. No, that's a let's just focus. I don't know. Let's do this maybe. How does that look? Okay. I'm not sure if this is the best leaf, but we'll see. Color, base color. Okay, that was not a good one. Let's find a better one. Like a green one is maybe nicer. And do camera rotation. You can actually show them here. Toolbar, 3D manipulation, enable that. So now we can actually rotate. What I wanted to do is see the spec, but I disabled the spec. So that's why I don't see it. Now it's on. And as you know, it's live. Like I'm testing things, and it might break and whatever. So just keep that in mind. In the tutorials I uploaded, everything is always has been tested before, so there's not much time for error. Okay, so now let's just work with this leaf here. You can see the leaf definitely, and the first thing, let's work with the opacity. I don't know. I feel Maya 18 is pretty stable now. I haven't got much of crashes. Okay, so the first thing is we've got the opacity. I'll show you what it looks like this. Oh, that's just a spec happening. Okay, I thought, what is this? But it's the specularity. So let's just connect the opacity to the opacity slot, and it's connected. Nothing happens. So, excuse me. So the problem is obviously, I guess most of you will know it's because the opaque switch is turned off. So obviously, if you have 16 leaves, you can do them one by one, but here comes the nice tool again, attribute control. So let's just select our leaves and refresh this guy. So we get all the selections. And now we have the option to just do it globally. So go to mesh, scroll down, opaque, and off. Boom, all those things is working. Okay, so now let's connect back the albedo to the base. There we go. Zoom out a bit. Okay. Okay, so now you can see we got a few leaves. And currently I have 64 bucket size, which is for full HD, it's fine. But for these fast iterations, I like to go smaller just to get smaller rendering tiles. I think V-Ray does this automatically, but well, this is not V-Ray. So let's now connect the displacement. And for displacement, because it's altering geometry, I just feel more safe to actually disable the IPR. But I was told it has been fixed, but I don't really trust it just yet. So let's create a displacement shader. If I can type it. There we go. Delete the shading engine and connect the displacement red channel to displacement and the out into my shading engine into displacement. Okay, so I'll just do step by step because I know the settings already, but I just want to show you how to set it up. So if you just connect it up, hit render. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. Actually, it's actually here. Update full scene. And did actually anything happen? I don't know. Did something happen? Render update. Off. Yeah, okay. Something is happening for sure. You can see there is this offset. So let's just check the settings. Auto bump is on. Zero value is on. Okay, let's just. I'm a bit surprised that it is not behaving differently because it was behaving differently in my early tests. Okay, that's why. There's no subdivision, so I think it does not really subdivide, right? So I still have my selection on in attribute control, so I can go to the mesh, scroll down, and set all the subdivision types to Cat Clark, so all are enabled. And let's try 3 iterations and set them on everything. And let's start the render again. Okay, now we see that I think something has happened. I hope so. Or maybe I'm possibly also doing something wrong here. Let's see that this is the displacement. It goes there, there, there. Okay. Let's just check this leaf here. This is a simple test I'm doing. I'm just creating a cube and snapping it to this guy. And I'm just seeing if there is actually an offset, which there is not. So something is now definitely different than in my previous test. Let's just reassign the shader. Okay, that is working. Height is working. Let's try. You see, now I'm actually panicking here. Let's see, bounce padding. That might be a thing. Scale at 0 value might be also a thing. If you know it, if you know why it's not working, please let me know. Let's just try a subdivision. So it has actually something on it. As you can see, the wireframe is being changed. Now let's just enable this guy. But it is not as much as I thought it would be. So now it's on 5. Maybe just this leaf doesn't have so much. Yeah, okay, no, it's all good. I think it was just this leaf which didn't have a strong displacement map on it. Okay, let's try the basic mode. Okay. No, I think we're back. It's all good. So 0 value is 0.5. That did not update though. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe not all leaves update. Okay. Because I'm changing it globally. Oh, I'm actually not. I'm on the shape. That's why. Okay, sorry about that. So you have actually the same settings on the shader and on the shape, and I want to change them on the, that's the thing, on the shader. So 0.5 Okay, and bounce padding. Let's just keep this to 5 and enable auto bump. And now I just want to show you what auto bump actually does. It's pretty impressive. So this is now the leaf with auto. I think I'm on the wrong side actually. It's hard to see where we are now. Okay, so this is now the leaf with auto bump enabled. So if I disable this, you can see this is just a pure deformation based on geometry. And Arnold is so clever to interpret the displacement map and actually generate a bump map from that, and which gives you nice detail. So what you can do, you can also connect the bump map, which is also coming from Quixel Megascans. So let's see how that looks. If I create a bump 2D node and connect the red channel to, I always get this confused, to the bump value, and connect the normal to that, and disable the displacement auto bump feature, this should now actually do something. Oh, it's not working on basic. Okay, so this would just be a regular bump map now on it. You can see what's going on here. So I'm slightly increasing the map, and you can see what's going on. So this would be the bump map. So let's just save this quickly as a AB and disconnect this guy, so no bump, and let's go back to displacement and bring this one in. Okay, so let's see if there's a big change. And yeah, feel free to ask questions, right? So does bump with normal map better than, I'm not sure what that last question is, Edward. So you can see the difference. This is bump map, this is displacement auto bump. So there's way more detail with using this approach. Okay, so this was the first map connected, and now let's ignore the bump stuff. Displacement is working, opacity is working. Let's connect the roughness, right? So we choose the red channel. But for now, let's create a range in between. A range is a new grade node or a remap. Different names, same output, or mostly the same. So red channel goes to specular roughness. Okay. So now this is the spec roughness for this leaf. And let's see how the map looks like this. Okay. So I had a few reference images, and leaves are actually pretty shiny because they have some residue on it. I'm not sure how to call in English. Let me Google that quickly for you. It's like residue. Wait a second. I'm just Googling on the other screen quickly. If I can actually do it. Tree resin. Dew? No, not dew. It's tree resin. Tree gum, resin. Like this, when you park underneath a tree, sometimes you get this crap on your car, and it's this sticky stuff. Wax, yes, exactly. Stuff like that. So it is actually, leaves are pretty shiny, unless they have been fallen down and they were in the sand and they picked up the roughness. But anyways, just using the range now to control the roughness. So I'm slightly bringing the input min, which defines the minimum, or it shifts the color to the minimum black value. So now you can actually see we get these black spots on it. And I can also bring down the input max, so we have also rougher parts. So these veins on the leaf are rougher, and then we've got these specks on it. Obviously, it's if the textures are not all the same, you need to do it per texture. You can see these ones are way too rough now. But anyways, I just want to show you the more or less the general idea behind it. And let's see if we can get a nice spec hit. Okay, let's render this area. And now this is what it is. It might be now too much for sure. So if you have dialed down the contrast per se, then then you actually have the control to just reduce the overall color or increase it. So you can actually bring it back in so it gets more rough, but you still maintain the contrast on it. So let's bring this back up slowly, and then we get these nice pings, and then yeah, some stuff on it. And obviously, if you check the wireframe, it is not as good as it could be, so let's change that as well. I like to say, because I'm actually rendering all the time live now, and let's just change, what do we actually have now? We have 3 subdivisions already. Okay, let's just be crazy and go to 4. It's not that crazy, but let's just go to 4. I still have my selection in here, just changing the iterations and setting them. So now every leaf is on 4. Let's check the wireframe. We can actually go to 5. Let's try 5. Takes a while longer. Okay, now you can see this is now heavily subdivided. And now we get nice, well, it's not a big difference. So we can live with 4, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so the next thing would be, I guess, the subsurface scattering. So we get some proper backlighting on it. So it's getting messy. So I like to do this, click this guy. So it's sorting it out. Okay, so this is translucency. So I don't really want to use translucency because it's just a bit, I think it was a bit brighter than the diffuse albedo. So I'm just using the diffuse albedo emission subsurface and plugging the same map in there. What you can obviously do is you can create a color correct node or something in between. Let's just do this to show you. Color, I think it's called AI color, correct? There we go. And diffuse albedo out color goes to input, and this guy goes to the subsurface color, like this. And let's check the settings, the color. So this would be my diffuse albedo. I'm actually not sure if that's pronounced correct, but yeah, I guess so. And let's just connect the out color of translucency. I'm not sure if it actually connected it properly. Yeah, there we go. Now it's the translucency, and you see this is the difference. You can, it's actually nicer because you can get these highlights on the veins, but I just thought it's a bit too yellow. So let's use the translucency and just make it a bit greener by hue shifting it in the green to the green end a bit again. So this is now original and the graded version. Okay, so these are all the leaves, all the glory. And this one connects now to the subsurface color. Okay, that you can see it's already way too crazy. Let's just see if we can actually find a good leaf. Saving. Why? Okay, at some point it just doesn't work anymore, the viewport representation. Okay, so let's just zoom in here. You can actually see that there it gets a nice shadow, but we want to go beneath. Okay, and you can see now what's going on. It's actually getting backlight already. So now you have the option to control the radius, and the radius just says how deep does when the ray hits the surface, how deep does it scatter at that ray hit? Right, I hope this makes sense. So let's just zoom in here a bit. Oh yeah, guys, I'm checking a chat, so feel free to ask anything if something is not really clear about the workflows. And you can see now if I reduce the radius, you can actually get really sharp edges. This is now just by changing the radius. So the shadow on top is actually from a light, from a different leaf, which is on top. So if I go to the viewport and I'll just use this cube here and snap this here and move it up and somewhere here, we should see the cube. these maps are based, or actually proper photo scans, but not mine. So if you want to use them, it's actually a Quixel scan atlases, and I know you have the option to filter by leaves, and I just chose something from here. So there's lots of high-res stuff. It's really, really good maps. Anyway, so back in action. So you can see now, you can see the cube actually at the bottom here. So if I go a bit more below it, unfortunately not free. There is a fee involved. But honestly, I must say it's worth it. That's definitely worth it. Okay, so now you can see the cube, nice sharp edges on the cube. And now let's work on the radius. So there's always some diffusion happening. Obviously, you can also like shoot your own maps, but it's in most cases just easier to buy good ones and then to struggle and create your own ones. Okay, so if I increase the radius, you can see what's going on. It gets more diffuse because the ray hit is spreading more inside the surface. I don't have a real reference now. I actually did shoot photo refs. Okay, this one is, yeah, I can't show them you now because it's on my phone. But I can actually see the backlighting, which is cool. Well, let me just bring them up quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. I hope I don't breach my own privacy now. Okay. Let's just do this. Then I need to log in here. Just a second. 0 trust. I'm just logging in onto my photos on iPhotos, so I can share or show you the one picture. Okay, I think I meant this one. I'm just saving it to the desktop so I don't show you my iCloud stuff. Okay, sorry, it took a while. Here we go. So this is the reference I was shooting when I was walking home from work today. And you can see here, it might be a shadow, it might be translucency, but you can actually see the top is pretty green here, and then you get this bright backlighting. And I don't know, I guess it depends on the look. But let's just go with like 0.5, so we get a bit of diffusion happening, not too much. And then obviously we can control the texture. So if I increase the exposure, you get way brighter stuff, backlighting, which we don't want. We can desaturate it a bit, tiny bit, and we can also like go back to the bit of a yellow tinge. So this is now the backlighting, right? Now let's have a look from the top. View panes. Let's just render update full scene. Not sure why they look so shiny now. We actually might just to break the spec up a bit more. We might just actually introduce the normal map. That's a good question, Ryan. I tend not to use the clear coat because leaves don't have a clear coat. They have just one single layer. Like for instance, cars have a clear coat, or some wood varnish has a clear coat. I tend to stick to real life things because you get the best reference from them, right? So I never actually would be using a clear coat on leaves because it's just not realistic, right? But it's, I guess it's artistic. If you want to do it and it looks better, for sure, go for it. Okay, so this is now we're working with the scattering, and if you feel it gets too like soft, too plasticky, I like to reduce the weight to 0.8 or something, just to have a bit more diffuse. And you can see now it looks actually better than before. So let's just change the render mode now to 100%, so we don't get any lower res. And let's just render this guy here and go to the final step. Okay, so this is now what it looks like with my current settings. I think they are pretty low, but you can see you get these nice hints of spec happening, and it looks actually pretty cool. And I think if you have populated tree with that, it can look pretty cool. So oh yeah, what I wanted to do now was to let's just store this and bring in a normal map. I will show you also a nice trick with those normal maps if I actually can find it. There it is. So let's just use this bump normal thing and connect the alpha, doesn't matter, just anything to the bump and change it to tangent. So this would be the default, right? And now what I want to do, I connect the out normal to the shader. And now we should see something happening. Let's just update. Yeah. So that's always now the question, if it is actually working properly. I'm always a bit skeptical using normals because you never know how they got published or exported. If it's in the right space. Let's try object space. And I'm also a noob with that. So, okay, this looks even worse. Tangent space. Okay, that's definitely better. So what you can do now, let's just try to work with this. So a little trick is if you use an AI flat shader, which is just a constant color, and you use a mix as well, you can blend two nodes together. So if I connect the out color shader 1 and the out color shader 2, and I connect the red channel to the bump now, what do we get? So this is the current result, right? What I want to do now is with this thing, I want to control the strength of the normal map. So I can go into the flat node. So I hope I do it correct the first time. I think it's 0.5, 0.5, and 1. I think that's correct. So this is a neutral normal map with no displacement happening. So these two guys combined, if I connect them and I go to 0, to 1, this is no normal map. And if I slowly increase it, we should get a, like we can slowly increase the scale of it. You see what's happening here? That's pretty cool, right? And this connects back to the normal slot. Okay, so this would be now off with just displacement, which I honestly think looks the best. Let's just bring in a bit of normal map. Oh, well, it adds a bit of breakup. Anyway, so this is now what it is. And let's maybe just quickly rearrange those leaves. So, oh, we got this back. Interesting. Is it because I changed the weight? Yeah, weird. So just by, okay, that's interesting. So there's still a few things solid angle needs to fix here. Okay, so again, this is all the leaves, and let's just set them all to 0. No rotation. Okay, so back in origin, right? And now what I just want to do, I just want to move them side to side. So it's just, I know, it's just a bit easier to actually see what we did here. With all the leaves next to each other, I think it will be a bit more apparent what's going on. This guy here. And I guess I'm about to finish. So if you have any questions, ask them now. Yeah. Also, if you want to support me, if you haven't done so already, I am on Patreon, and I would be happy to get your support as well. I will send the link in a minute. So if you haven't signed up for anything, or if you don't wanna, it's also fine. There is some more limited content to the patrons of mine. So if you sign up for the source file reward tier, then you actually get the tutorial files, which I will be uploading as well. So you get a bit bonuses if you become a patron, obviously. How many leaves are there? Just doesn't end. Okay, that was the last one. Okay, so let me just fire up the patron link. Patron home. Let's see, I think we need to go here, and that's the one you need. So there are several reward tiers on the right. You can see that. Source files, lessons, private lessons. And yeah, so I'm just pasting this guy here. Checking if everything is still running. Yeah. Quick question, do you still need a bump if you have displacement bump, and how to connect bump and normal together at the same time? Okay, so the first question is, do you need bump or normal maps if you have displacement bump? So what I just did, which didn't have a big effect, I have the displacement displacement bump enabled, and I have a normal map as well. So honestly, if you have a good displacement like a high-res ZBrush export or something, and you enable this displacement bump, auto bump, then you mostly don't need it. So I could actually live without it for sure. And the other question was, if you have a bump and a normal, how can you use them together? And that's also rather simple, but it has a little gotcha for sure. So to show that, limited space here on my screens. Okay, so where's the bump? Bump here. It is the bump. Bump here. So you do the same thing. I just copy the bump from here, or let's just create one. Bump to D, and bump value is red channel. So this one has a bump value, right? Bump and bump depth, and this is the normal one, right? So this is my normal map, this is the bump map. So each bump map has a input called, let's just show all. There is somewhere something which I need to find. Normal camera, there we go. So it has a input normal camera. So what you can do, you can actually connect bump maps together. Bump map 1 goes to the next one, and you can actually stack them up. So this is now bump and normal map and displacement bump enabled. So it's all the glory in one. Just to show it, I disable this quickly, and let's just focus on this guy and hit render. I don't want to jinx it, but we didn't have a crash so far, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so what is going on here? Lots of things. So let's first disable the normal map, and I can do that because I have enabled this little trick here, and I just disable the bump. So this is my flat shader, right? Okay, it's very zoomed in here. Let's disable this guy. Focus on this region. Okay, so this is very close up on the leaf. It's full HD, so I guess the stream might actually be struggling a bit under the load. I hope not. Okay, so let's introduce bump map. So I'm slowly increasing the value, and you can see what's going on. You get some bumps, and this is just a bump. And if I now just want to have the normal, let's bring that in. So introducing the normal map, this is what the normal map looks like. You see, you get everything. Like this is the normal. You get also these veins. And now if I bring in the bump again, you see something is happening as well. So now this is bump map and a normal map together. And if you want to be very fancy, you can create a fractal noise as well and connect that up as a bump as well. So you could actually stack several ones together. And this is how it's done. So, but I don't need that. I just disconnect it and I'll just use the displacement bump. And honestly, it gives a pretty awesome result. It's very accurate and it's kind of the same. Let's just go. Okay, let's try to frame it nicer. Where's the sun? Let's see how this looks now. Okay. Lots of leaves, and I think they look pretty good. Okay, feel free to ask any more questions. I'm almost done with this session. So I'll just render this now in without the steps, and I might just go up to 4, maybe 1 here. And let's change the bucket size to 64. Disable updates and update full scene. So let's see what we get. Okay, just to recap what we did. So we brought in all the stuff, all the textures, then I connected the albedo, the opacity, made sure opaque switch is off on each shape, and I increased the subdivision steps. I made sure that I have a bounce padding on 5, which just says if the displacement is too strong, it won't clip the bounding box, so you make the bounding box bigger. And as a scalar zero value is just, it defines the zero value of the displacement map. So these things I enabled, and I increased actually the value to 5 because I wanted to have a stronger effect on it. Okay, so, oh no, did I break it now? No, I did not. Any news on GPU? I know they are working on it, but obviously there is no release date or anything like this, so I can't give any more information than you know. What can I show you on this front? Oh yeah, also guys, please feel free to follow me on Twitter if you have not done so, because everything what I do is mostly happening on Twitter, and then it's filtering through the other channels on social media. But I'm most active on Twitter and on Patreon, and yeah, just that you know if you haven't done so. What else? There is a current shading challenge if you are up for it on shaders X, Y, and Z from Xeno. I have started, but I don't really have the time to really participate. So this month's challenge, I think is how to create like chip paint on Rust, and it's pretty nice. It's you can do it with procedurals, pretty sure, but the thing is to make it look good, you need to really spend lots of time to creating those procedural masks. Especially you can see that they are pretty defined, and most fractal patterns they are not. So this is Xeno's pretty good entry already. You can see he used a cell noise or something similar to that to create these cracked effects. I guess he uses 2 geometries here with a cutout opacity to create this effect. I didn't actually look into his shading tree. Cracks network, cracks. Oh, he's using AL, fractal AL shaders. Yeah, anyways, lots of things going on there. I was pooling a blood shader. Depends what blood it is. Is it like a blood cell? Like this? Or is it actual blood? Actual blood. Hope we don't get anything sick now. Yeah, we get sick stuff. You mean no, actual stuff. Okay. Well, I hope most of this is FX stuff. So something like this, I guess, is what you're more after, right? It is very subsurface scattery, and it would have a. Let's just do it quickly. I can show it. So after the leaves are finished rendering, so well, if I'm honest, if I prefer textures or procedurals, if I can get good textures, I always go for the textures. First, they are way faster, and um, they're faster to render. And if you have a good texture artist and he makes good work, then obviously go for the textures. I just got very efficient using procedurals just because it really helps to break up the noise, break up the specs, and make it just better. So it's like if you have a good texture artist, for sure, use them. Blizzard is visiting my school this week. Any tips for what to do when in an interview or show in a portfolio? Obviously, it depends where you wanna apply for. Is it like games? Then you should have a strong gaming reel, which means not how you play Counter Strike or anything, but rather low polygon modeling, using real-time shading, using Unity, all these fancy things which I have no clue about. And if you do for VFX stuff, you should have some experience. You should have some work in the VFX field. You should show your lighting if you want to apply for lighting position. If you want to apply for look dev, you should show some look dev work, stuff like that, right? Yeah. So yeah, these are the leaves. I will show the blood quickly as well, but I just want to show you the leaves now. And until they are done, I am modeling quickly a pool of blood or something. Yeah, that was a bit too high. Okay, so let's just create. How would we do this? Single plane, smooth that? Guess so. And now you will see my incredible modeling skills. And yeah, I was just kidding. So thanks, you're the best. I learned so much. Yeah, it's cool, man. I like to help out. Okay, so this should be a puddle of something. Okay, this might just work actually. Okay, so now we do face selections, we do an extrude, we do this, yeah, and then we do smoothing, mesh, smooth. Let's just do 2 divisions. Did it actually do it? No. There we go. So now I just want to create the illusion of thickness without, let's see if I can actually do it without going to the bottom. Volume? No, it is surface then. It might be just the surface. Yeah, it's surface. Okay. So, okay, that was not enough. I'm using soft selection, by the way. Okay, it's also not enough. So let's just make this a bit bigger. Okay. So I don't know. It's for sure not realistic, but anyways, this will be my puddle, and this will be my ground floor, and I guess we need a hard edge loop here. Oh, that doesn't work. Does this work? Yeah. Okay. And let's just do a bevel 2, and now we should have a harder edge. Well, whatever. It is what it is. So let's assign a shader. There we go. And let's see if we can get it working. And let's first see the render because that one is still going. Okay, it's actually done. So what do you guys think of the leaves? They might be a bit too shiny, but they are in direct sunlight, so that's a thing as well. But imagine this on a tree and it's blowing in the wind and you get lots of leaves being simulated. I think this could look pretty cool. So let's hide those leaves and do the quick blood shader. Okay, leaves look great. Okay, cool. So Arnold, render, test resolution 50, update, progressive on, this off. Okay, so what do we see? We see this is obviously not correct. So let's just, before we do that, let's just fix it quickly. And I can show you what I mean by not correct. I want this, delete this, and do an extrusion. So what I deleted all the bottom geo. I extrude this down. I hit R for scale. I press J for locking, and I scale them so they are all on a plane now. Okay, and then I do another extrusion to the inside. I scale this one down. Didn't work. And I press G for repeat and R for scale. Bring this guy down. So now we have a nice sharp edge. And let's just do right click, fill the hole. And I hope, okay, this is now going through. So just for this, let's just move it down. So it's intersecting. Well, I think it's actually not helping. Excellent, I guess, conference. Okay. And let's just bring another edge loop in here. Sorry, this it might be a bit boring for you guys. Okay, so now we should have a sharper edge for the blood. Let's see if it's actually working. Now we need to move it down. Not the shape, where's the transform? I hope it's this one. Oh, that's why play is off. Okay, it's the other one. Okay, let's move this guy down. Okay, anyhow, let's see if we can get it working. So let's go to the shader and see Alt D, delete all the history. Okay, so let's just try to get it done. Red. Okay, I guess red is blood is depends how long it has been out in the on the air, the darker it gets, I guess. It looks like ketchup now. So I would, because it gets more transparent, right? So if you see like pool, I hope we don't get any sick images now. Pool of blood. Yeah, definitely sick images. You can see the edges where it gets thin get translucent. So we could try to do it with refraction. So let's do that. So let's do this. And for now, reduce the spec and go to transmission, enable this. And for this to work, because we need shadows, we just disable opaque, so we get transparent shadows. So now it's more like water, right? And now we have the option to do dispersion Abbey. Sorry, that's for diamonds. We have depth, scatter. Wait, where is that? This guy. Let's just try. Okay. Okay, so you see what's happening here? We will get now brighter. Yeah, I thought there was a blood preset, but unfortunately there was not. So you can see now what's happening is because it's thinner in the center, you get this brighter effect happening, right? And you can introduce some scattering, which is why doesn't this work? Maybe we need to get higher values. Scatter is like particles in the liquid or whatever. Yeah, okay, scattering does work. We just need higher values here. And you can see now it kind of gets there. The shadow is definitely not correct, that it's so red shadow. I don't know, it shouldn't be that red. So but if I disable opaque, it gets black again. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, we can also try. You can actually also try to use subsurface scattering alone, but it's difficult, I guess. So let's see, IOR of blood. Let's just go 3.5. It's not supposed to be like that. Can go a bit darker. I don't know. Let's check the reference. So you can see it's mostly uniform. So we can play around with the depth. And we can also bring down the translucency. And imagine this is in the direct sunlight, right? This is more in a dark room, I guess. You can see this is actually dried up fake blood for sure. Yeah. Thing is, some sequences from Dexter, right? Or whatever. Yeah, I hope you guys will sleep good. And obviously, you can use I don't know, some breakup, some as if there's like, where did I just see that? I did see it somewhere. I don't know. So you see there's some stuff floating on the surface. Lol, this is cool blood pool. Yeah, it's you can see it's also very shiny as well. So depending on the angle, again, it's always different. So this is now from the top, which now looks more or less like blood, I guess. The steeper you get reflections again. Yeah, it might be too shiny as well. We can also try to, let's just try some. I actually wanted to stop already. Keep rambling on here. Subsurface. Let's see how this works. They have catch up. I've seen that. Radius. Well, this might actually look better. That's very interesting. So yeah, it's a little bit of science itself, I guess, to get it right. So if we introduce transmission again, this is now a heavy shader, subsurface scattering and refractions and stuff. Do you have any favorite abstract shaders for motion graphics? Well, I don't really do motion graphics, so I can't really help you on that side. Yeah. So you can see this is now, I know, this is now my quick version of Blood. So I hope it did help you. So it's tricky. So let's still go back to the list where we actually came from. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I guess this was it. And yeah, again, if you haven't done so, I've got the Slack channel or the Slack group. This is the Slack group. So we have, I think, actually like almost 15 people joined now. Oh, that's actually a lot. So thank you guys for joining, and feel free to ask questions here, right? Hello, yeah, that's what the random is for. Cool. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Share your stuff, comment on things, be active, and help the community to grow, I guess. And what else is interesting? The Surface Shader, the Surface Database app got an update, just bug fixes mostly. Yeah, so I think I will edit this, or I will just create a proper tutorial on this. It just helps for people because not always is watching an hour live stream. So I'll just create like a 15, maybe 10-minute version on how to create this leaf shader in a proper tutorial. And I will upload that also, I think, early next week or something. Okay, thank you guys for tuning in, and have a good Friday night or good Saturday, I guess, because we are on the far west. We are the last to get tomorrow. Yeah. Anyways. Thank you guys. Bye bye.